Hello, my name is Jonathan Coxall and I'd like to welcome you to the Macmillan Study Skills video lessons. There are 5 video lessons in this series and each video lesson has one of these, a PDF worksheet which you can download from the Mondadori website. The 5 video lessons are developing study skills, grammar study skills, vocabulary study skills, listening and speaking study skills and reading and writing study skills. Welcome to the 3rd video in the Video Study Skills series by Macmillan. We've looked at developing study skills and grammar study skills. In this video we're going to look at vocabulary study skills. So today we're going to look at a number of things when talking about vocabulary. The first one is keeping a record, because it's important that you keep a record of all the vocabulary that you learn. Then we're going to look at using a dictionary and how it can be helpful to use a dictionary. Efficient vocabulary revision is fundamental, and we saw how important it is in the first video to revise constantly the vocabulary that you're learning. Then we're going to look at learning new vocabulary and how to make notes and take notes of that, and how we can boost our vocabulary by using prefixes and suffixes. So let's start by looking at keeping a record of the vocabulary you learn. It's a good idea to keep a record using lexical groups. Let's have a look at the slide to see how we can actually do this more efficiently. A lexical group, in this case, would be, for example, parts of the body. And I might want to put or link each part of the body to a central idea. So in this case, we're looking at the chest, leg, arm, and head. If you remember or try to remember them in this way, by maybe adding in a picture as well to help you make sure that you remember exactly what each word means, it helps you when you have to go back and revise for a test or something similar when looking at specific areas of vocabulary. Okay, now we're going to look at using a dictionary. Imagine we're going to read a text and we don't know some of the words in the text. It would be obvious perhaps to go and use a dictionary to try and find the words that we don't know. But now we're going to look at some exercises or things that perhaps we should do before even opening the dictionary. So here we have a text which could be perhaps problematic for some vocabulary. The article was an analysis of the problems suffered by professional sword swallowers. What is a sword swallower? The first thing I suggest you do is to try and predict from images that are certainly around the text, which are there to help you try and understand the text better. If it's not possible, we can then go and have a look in a dictionary. Here we have the dictionary entry for the verb to swallow, which means ingoiare. We can see that it's quite a common word because it has 2 stars next to the entry. Then we see that there's the definition, and we're also given the word in context. Use all of the information that's in a dictionary. It is there to help you. So in the first slide we saw about how we can keep a record of vocabulary. In the second slide we looked at using a dictionary. Now let's have a look at how we can actually learn new vocabulary and take systematic notes. So when learning new vocabulary, it's very important to get certain information. Here, for example, we have the word aubergine. The first bit of information that I want to know and to note is perhaps how to say the word. We can see that the stress is on the first syllable because we say aubergine. We don't say aubergine or aubergine. We can see that it's a noun. Perhaps I also want to say or write what it is in Italian to make sure that I remember what the meaning is. Then, as we've already said, it's really important to put the word into context. So here, for example, cut the aubergine up and put it in the pot. You might want to, when taking notes of words, change the colour of the word depending on what word it is. So for example, nouns could be green and verbs in this case could be blue. This verb is to remind, it means ricordare, and as we can see it's a verb, and we can see that here, remind me to buy some sugar, or he reminds me of my brother, because there are 2 different ways in which we can use the verb to remind. So we've seen how we can take note of vocabulary. Now let's look at how we can develop our vocabulary further. By using prefixes and suffixes, you can actually boost the number of words you know very, very easily. Let's look at how. Now let's look at how prefixes and suffixes actually work. If we take a prefix, for example, generally they change the meaning from positive to negative, whereas suffixes change the form of the word. So for example, from a verb to a noun. If we take the verb to appear, By adding a prefix, things disappear. Now let's make that disappear, and we have an appearance, which obviously is the verb changing to a noun. Be aware that in the back of course books often you will find tables, much like this one, which give you a clear indication and guide to how we use, in this case, negative prefixes. Use them, they're there for your help.